Passion is one of the most popular ideas in today's culture. The media nowadays says passion is everything. Discover your passion, live with zeal, share your passion with the world. We tell ourselves that joy comes from passion, but this is not just a false concept, it is also a dangerous one. What then ought to be our course of action? Where can we find joy? How can we maintain it too? This guide aims to answer these questions. Stay with us until the end so you don't miss any important information or key points that can help you improve step by step. First, we have to understand that our passion could be the precise thing preventing us from achieving success, influence, or power. The same people who keep saying that passion is life's most important force haven't told us that people fail with passion just as often, if not more. Many national leaders and politicians had a strong passion for war and ultimately drove their nation into ruin. Full of emotion, Christopher McCandless ventured into the wild and never came back. Robert Falcon Scott was bitten by the pole mania when he set out to explore the Arctic to find his end, and many climbers of the disastrous 1996 Everest expedition experienced a brief episode of what psychiatrists today refer to as goal odyssey. It is undeniable that every one of these gifted and intelligent people sincerely believed in what they were trying to do. It's also evident that they were ill-prepared and unable to understand the arguments and legitimate worries of those in their immediate vicinity. This kind of passion is merely ego that is purely destructive. It's denial of reality due to self-absorption. It's a disease caught by countless entrepreneurs, authors, chefs, business owners, politicians, and designers that we've never heard of and never will hear of because they sunk their own ships before they'd hardly left the harbor. They lacked anything else and possessed enthusiasm just like any other dilettante. Unrestrained excitement, our readiness to seize opportunities with all of our passion, the bundle of energy that our teachers and gurus have assured us is our greatest asset. It is the intense, irrepressible urge to begin or finish a project with an ambiguous, lofty, and far-off aim. This seemingly innocuous motivation is so far from the right path. We should remind ourselves that zealot is just a polite way to say crazy person. Louis Alcindor Jr., a young basketball player who secured 3 national championships with John Wooden at UCLA, described his coach's famous style with one word: dispassionate. Wooden wasn't passionate. He didn't rely on special speeches or inspiration, seeing those excess emotions as a burden. His philosophy focused on being in control, doing your job, and never being passion's slave. This player, who learned that lesson from Wooden, later changed his name to one more familiar: Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. The key we have to realize: we should not allow ourselves to be driven by excitement nor let our bodies be in constant motion. Instead, allow ourselves time to become the person we aim to be. It is a process of accumulation. We will encounter challenging issues in our pursuits, frequently in circumstances we have never encountered before. Opportunities are typically disguised, covered over, or hindered by different kinds of opposition, rather than being deep, uncharted waters that call for bravery and audacity to dive into. In these situations, what's really needed are methodical determination, deliberateness, and clarity. The reality: we hear what we want to hear. We do what we feel like doing, and despite being incredibly busy and working very hard, we accomplish very little, or worse, find ourselves in a mess we never anticipated. Because we only seem to hear about the passion of successful people, we forget that failures share the same trait. We don't conceive of the consequences until we look at their trajectory. Passion often leads to the same mistakes: over-investing, under-investing, acting before someone is ready, breaking things that require delicacy. Usually, passion covers up a weakness. Discipline, mastery, strength and purpose, perseverance, and even breathlessness are inadequate alternatives for its impetuousness, franticness, and breathlessness. While the beginnings of passion may be sincere and good, its repercussions can range from hilarious to terrible. Therefore, it's important for us to be able to recognize this in ourselves and in others. Individuals who possess the ability to articulate their goals and success to us in great detail, including when they plan to attain them, or who can express genuine concerns to us about the responsibilities that come with such accomplishments, are clearly passionate. They can tell us all the things they're going to do or have even begun, but they cannot show us their progress, because there rarely is any. How can someone be busy yet achieve nothing? This is the essence of the passion paradox. If insanity is defined as doing the same thing repeatedly and expecting different results, then passion can be seen as a form of mental retardation, intentionally done dulling our most crucial cognitive abilities. In hindsight, the waste is often shocking. The prime years of our lives are wasted away because we believe in a false concept. Realism and purpose are what humans need to ascend. One could compare purpose to a confined passion. Perspective and objectivity define realism. It seems improper to go slowly while we are young, or when our cause is young, since we feel passion like our hormones run fastest in our youth. We are simply impatient. This is our incapacity to comprehend that pushing ourselves to the limit or blowing ourselves up won't accelerate the process. Passion is about. Purpose is to and for. Purpose de-emphasizes the I. Purpose is about pursuing something outside ourselves as opposed to pleasuring ourselves. We require realism more than we do purpose. How should we begin? First, what should we do? How can we be certain that the actions we are taking are advancing us? Against what standard are we measuring ourselves? As Goethe once said, great passions are maladies without hope. Because of this, a thoughtful, intentional individual functions differently than someone who is swayed or ill. They employ experts and make use of them. They pose queries, inquire about potential issues, and request examples. They make backup plans. After that, they head to the races. Usually they begin with a small step by small steps, finish them, and then seek input on how to make the following set even better. As they proceed, they lock in gains and continue to improve, frequently leveraging those advantages to develop exponentially as opposed to arithmetically. Passion is forming over function. The purpose is function. The critical work that we want to do will require our deliberation and consideration, not passion, not naivete. It'd be far better if we were intimidated by what lies ahead, humbled by its magnitude, and determined to see it through regardless. Make it about what we feel we must do and say, not what we care about and wish to be. Above everything, avoid zeal excess. Then we'll accomplish amazing feats. Then we will no longer be our old, well-meaning but incompetent selves. So what should we pursue? Where do we find joy? And how do we keep it? Seneca's answer comes in his letter, but it is hard to keep within bounds in that which you believe to be good. The real good may be coveted with safety. Do you ask me what this real good is and whence it derives? I will tell you, it comes from a good conscience, from honorable purposes, from right actions, from contempt of the gifts of chance, from an even and calm way of living which treads but one path. For men who leap from one purpose to another, or do not even leap but are carried over by a sort of hazard, how can such wavering and unstable persons possess any good that is fixed and lasting? There are only a few who control themselves and their affairs by a guiding purpose. The rest do not proceed. They are merely swept along like objects afloat in a river. And of these objects, some are held back by sluggish waters and are transported gently. Others are torn along by a more violent current. Some, which are nearest the bank, are left there as the current slackens, and others are carried out to sea by the onrush of the stream. Therefore, we should decide what we wish and abide by the decision. Unshakable joy comes from purpose, in something bigger than ourselves, in perspective and gratitude, in the wisdom that philosophy teaches us. It might not be as exciting or as glamorous, it might be a little slower, but it's far more durable and meaningful. Finding that will take time, work, and self-reflection, but it's in there, inside us. Dig deep, find it, and we'll have joy we can hold on to forever. If you want to know what does it means to be wealthy and how to know what is enough, listen our previous video. The link is on the screen. Thank you for joining us on this stoic journey. Until next time, may these practices transform your mornings, your days, and ultimately, your life.